If you're like most parents that I see in my practice, you've tried literally everything. You've tried the behavioral modifications, you've gone to occupational therapy, you've done the dietary changes, and even the calming techniques. Yet your child still struggles. I see countless families who were exhausted from dealing with their child's constant tantrums, their sensory meltdowns, or their behavioral challenges that literally come out of nowhere. And with your child, there's challenges with what they can wear. They have extreme reactions to sounds. They struggle with anxiety that makes life impossible. Yet, the one challenge is that parents blame themselves. And I want to tell you, this is not just your fault. This is not them just acting out. There is an underlying cause in many of these situations. Now, a statistics that's going to shock you is that 1 in 6 children in the United States have a diagnosable developmental disability. 40% suffer from at least one chronic condition. Most doctors are missing the real root cause behind these struggles. And I want to ask you is that what if your child's behavioral challenge or their sensory disruption or their health challenge is not just all separate issues, but it's actually a sign of one underlying condition that can be addressed and corrected? I'm going to start with telling you about a practice member, Tierney. This little girl, her story is going to be heartbreakingly familiar for some of you parents. Before finding neurologically focused chiropractic care, this little girl had extreme sensory processing challenges. She could literally only wear a couple of dresses that were really loose, really baggy. They wouldn't touch her skin at all. Things like seams and fabrics and eyeglasses, even tennis shoes or slippers would be so overwhelming that it would turn into a major meltdown when her parents would get her dressed, and she would have severe anxiety. Now, Tierney's nervous system was so stressed out that her senses were not communicating well with her brain. And it's like having a broken volume control, where the volume of your senses and your brain is just way too high. She felt clothing sensations at such an intense level that it wasn't set up for her body to be comfortable. She was stuck in a fight or flight mode neurologically. But it wasn't just one instance that caused this. It's a buildup of stress over time that we call the perfect storm. Now today, after very specific chiropractic care, full-on care plan, this little girl has a calmed down, coordinated nervous system. It's balanced. Tierney has a whole new wardrobe. This little 10-year-old girl celebrates because she can actually wear a pair of jeans. Now, Tierney says that she loves chiropractic care because it fixes problems. This is from a 10-year-old. And now, what's even more amazing about this story is that I'm going to teach you the underlying factors on why we can celebrate such large success. The nervous system dysregulation is one of the biggest parts. Your child's tantrums, their sensory meltdowns, their behavioral challenges, they're not characteristic flaws or bad behavior. They're actually a brilliant attempt by their body's nervous system to communicate that something is wrong in their environment. See, 7.1% of children aged 3 to 17 have been diagnosed with anxiety, 9.4% with ADHD, and 7.4% with a behavioral problem. But the common thread is nervous system dysregulation. When the autonomic nervous system gets stuck in fight or flight mode, sympathetic dominance, it is a challenge to smoothly create transitions between stress and calm states. They don't have a balance or an equilibrium neurologically. When your child's system is dysregulated, it affects everything, whether it's their ability to process this sensory input to their emotional regulation, whether it's to work on digestion or sleep, or even their immune system. The nervous system controls every muscle, tissue, and cell in the body. This perfect storm that we discussed is really what is causing this dysregulation, and it's a perfect storm. It's a buildup over time. This dysregulation doesn't happen overnight. It's not one singular event. And it's typically a result of this perfect storm stressor that accumulates. And it starts as early in utero as pregnancy. The first piece is prenatal stress, where maternal stress hormones like cortisol cross the placental barrier, and it can alter the programming of your baby's developing nervous system. Birth trauma. Interventions like cesarean sections, forceps, vacuum extractions, prolonged labor, these things can create physical stress and misalignments to the upper neck. that affects the brainstem and it interferes with the critical brain and body communication pathways. Early childhood stressors are also a huge factor, like inadequate sleep, processed foods, environmental toxins, or even the ordinary stressors can pile up in a child with very sensitive neurological tracking, and it makes it harder for them to find their footing. This is a cause where there's so many different factors. No longer is it one singular event. Now, the brain-gut connection matters more than you might even think, meaning that if your child has digestive issues, and it's going to affect the brain and gut relationship. You may have already tried dietary changes or even given them probiotics, but if it's still occurring and you're still struggling, the missing piece here is not the diet, it's the neurological foundation and its role in regulating digestion. How does the brain communicate to the digestive system? Now, the vagus nerve in the upper cervical spine serves as a superhighway between your child's brain and their digestive tract. It controls stomach acid production. It helps with muscle contractions that move food along, and it gives the release of digestive enzymes to break down and absorb the food into nutrients and then release the toxins. When your nervous system is stuck in this fight or flight mode, it puts the brakes on all those critical factors, because your body needs that rest and regulate mechanism and function, which explains why gut-focused interventions often fall short in filling this leaky bucket, because the issue is not just a limitation of a certain probiotic. And when we look at this, the foundation neurologically is the autonomic nervous system. So if the nervous system's not balanced, and you put all the great things into your body, it's still not going to allow that system to operate like it should. Your body has the internal capabilities of healing itself. You just have to identify where in the nervous system that stress resides, unwind that stress, and allow the body to adapt to its environment. Now, at Maximize Chiropractic, we identify this dysregulation neurologically by using advanced insight scanning technology. It allows me to see objectively where the stress resides within your child's nervous system. It helps us to identify where the specific stress is, where the dysregulation is caused by, whether it's the upper cervical spine, the lower spine, the middle back. These non-invasive scans also include a surface EMG, which is electromyography, and allows us to measure that neuromuscular tension. Thermography, on the other hand, is also used to assess the autonomic nervous system's function, whereas the heart rate variability scan allows us to evaluate the nervous system balance and how resilient the body is. Through then gentle, very, very specific neurologically based chiropractic adjustments, we help to restore that optimal brain and body communication. We allow then your child's body to shift from a dysregulated state to more of a natural regulation to allow it to be more resilient. See, neurologically based chiropractic care is really a application of an analysis to identify segmentally in the spine where that stress level resides. The adjustments are very light, they're very low force, they're very specific, and it's different than what you may as an adult seen on YouTube of them snapping and cracking your spine. With that, the adjustments are designed to stimulate the nervous system, and then from there allow that body to adapt to its optimal environment. Please, if you're ready to take the next step, take a look at the link in the bio below. Learn more about that nervous system regulation and see if this is the right approach for your child to gain health, not through nutrition, not through educational learning like an OT, not through supplements, but by allowing their body to heal itself by balancing and restoring how the nervous system operates.